Oh, hello there. You may be asking, Ben, what are you doing? And did I answer, indulging myself in the hell of modern gaming. I just don't get what the hype over this age of gaming is. The fantastic controls, the breathtaking visuals, the banging music. It's just too much. I want a game where the controls are just okay, the graphics show the game's age, and the soundtrack is like 5 songs in it. I want a basic, classic, vanilla platformer, damn it. Oh, hell yeah! So we all know Mario, the biggest gaming franchise, mascot for Nintendo, the most recognizable character in gaming, arguably one of the most recognizable characters in fiction, all started with a little arcade game in 1981's Donkey Kong, where you can play as a character Jumpman. I mean, they are right. He's a man, and he jumps. That's like calling someone a breathing person. It's stupid. But hey, Donkey Kong was a massive success. So obviously with this successful game, will come a sequel where he plays Jumpman again. Well, this seems to fail my criteria for a good Donkey Kong sequel. So, in the sequel, Mario is now the villain. Yep, Nintendo being mapped out to Mario's evil theory. This time you play as Donkey Kong Jr., Donkey Kong's son, trying to free his father from the devious hands of that Mario. This game, while still successful, wasn't as successful as the first game. Plus, Mario didn't even show up in Donkey Kong 3, so this seemed like it'd be the end of the Jumpman, until it wasn't. In 1983, the Jumpman everyone knew returned to a new game, Mario Bros. Yep, this is the game where Mario got his name, said to have been named after Mario Segal, an American businessman and estate developer who owned the land where Nintendo of America's office was built. Yes, the biggest gaming character of all time was named after a man who owned Nintendo's headquarters. Anyway, this game also introduced Luigi, one of the most beloved and well-known Mario characters to date. But one of the top 3 most infamous things this time period was known for, besides materialism and consumerism, was the severe Luigi hate. Everyone just knew him as a green Mario. Who made this character, Satan? The gameplay of this game isn't fun. The controls feel way too slippery and it feels like rounds just go on forever. Mario Bros. Is not a fun game, and I will have that statement be put on my tombstone. But the game was successful and made Mario more popular than ever, and then this slip-up happened. The gaming crash of 1983. The zit on the gaming industry's back they don't talk about. I don't think I need to go into this, considering you probably hear about this from your grandfather every Thanksgiving, but this seemed like it would be the end of the future for Mario and gaming in America, until it wasn't. There will be a game released on September 13th, 1985 in Japan, October 15th, 1985 in North America, and May 15th, 1987 in Europe. A game that would blow the masses away. A game that would change Mario, Nintendo, and gaming forever. And that game was Super Mario Bros. For the NES and Famicom. This game was developed by Nintendo R&D 4 and published by Nintendo. It was directed and produced by game director and icon of Nintendo, Shigeru Miyamoto. It was designed by Miyamoto and Takashi Tezuka. The development of this game was a culmination of all of their technical skills after working on games like Kung Fu, Overworld, and Excitebike, taking some elements from those games. They aimed for simplicity with this game, wanting to get it out as an end of the year release, something they still have not grown out of. Tezuka suggested that they use Mario as the character you play as after seeing how successful Mario Bros. Was. They created the first level to be a tutorial level teaching you the basic mechanics. But you're not here to hear about the little details, you're here to see me cry and complain. And I hate to break your heart, but you have to wait for a later Mario game for me to do that. So here's the box cover for this game. It shows Fire Mario jumping over some lava and what I'm guessing is a castle level, given my options. And here's the back. Do you have what it takes to save the Mushroom Princess? Whoa. There's a girl in this game? Now time to move the game. Playing the Switch Online version for convenience and spite. Simple tile screens at their finest. If you think about it, every future game has a tile screen just like this one. Mario, title of game. Start, yep, this one meets the criteria. While the other games' tile screens improve on this one's, particularly in the music, this will always be a classic. This is what makes a Nintendo fan feel right at home. Now for 1-1. This level is among the most iconic levels in gaming. There are other levels that come close, like Stage 1 from Pac-Man, Green Hill Zone from Sonic 1, and other Mario game first levels like Mario 64's Bob-omb Battlefield or Mario World's Yoshi Island 1. But I'd still say 1-1 is on the top. So what do I think of level this iconic and adored? It's alright. It's a perfectly fine level, but nowadays it really feels like nothing special. The layout is simple, the music is that classic overworld theme of the game. The enemies, Goombas and Koopas. One's a turtle and one's a messed up looking mushroom. There is a warp pipe in the level that'll take you from the start of the middle of the level to the end of the middle of the level in like 3-second stops. There are a couple more secrets like this invisible 1-up block right here. And that is it. I should probably now talk about the controls. You move around with the D-pad like most 2D games. You jump up with A and run with B. But the powers make this more interesting. Or as interesting as 3 powers can make a game. First, there's the mushroom, which makes Mario big. And by that I mean it turns Mario from smaller than a Switch game card to the size of a normal human. Or so we thought. The Fire Flower turns Mario into Fire Mario, where you can shoot out fireballs to take out enemies without stepping on them. Weirdly enough, for some reason, if you're Small Mario, you turn from Small Mario to Big Mario, not Fire Mario. That's like if you're starving and you eat an entire plate of food, but that only makes you slightly less hungry. It makes no sense. And then there's the star. If you equip this bad boy, you become invincible for a short amount of time. You can ram through all enemies in your way. This thing is awesome! And it's barely in the game. Thanks, Nintendo. Finally, the music. It's retro music at its most iconic. Everything from the overworld theme, underground theme, underwater theme, castle theme, it's all classic. Play any sound effect from this game and people will 67% of the time guess it right. That's an estimate. But the music being the same throughout the entire game does get a bit aggravating after a while. Not like Super Mario Bros. Ba Ba song level annoying, but no one's gonna be looking up the Super Mario Bros. NES soundtrack. By the way, the playlist I found has a bunch of sound effects to separate songs. That's funny. Make it to the flagpole and end the level. On to 1-2, probably my favorite level in the game. I just like the cave aspect more than running on brick stuff with blue sky as background. I don't care if it's your computer's background, it'll never be mine. This level, like 1-1, introduced a lot of series staples. Moving platforms, OP skips to other worlds, and the greatest enemy in the Mario series, Blue Goombas. Oh, and Piranha Plants are there too, I guess. Yeah, you may have noticed from my profile picture that Piranha Plant is one of my favorite characters in fiction. Not as much as these 3, but still, I love this potted plant of death and joy. Now we could take these warp pipes to worlds 2, 3, and 4, but why do that and suffer through less levels when we can suffer through more levels? On to 1-3, where the level design is the most unique so far, being giant pillars of dirt. Fun fact, if you did this in real life, it would crumble to pieces. These level types are called athletic because parkour, I guess. This level introduces flying Koopas. They're Koopas with wings. You can jump off them as platforms. I wonder if that's going to be a big part of the next game's platforming. Next up, the first boss level of the game, 1-4. So every world's final level will always be a boss fight level. Another thing that hasn't changed. And guess who we're fighting for all these levels? That's right. The one only, Godzilla Nintendo Edition. Bowser is the most iconic villain in gaming, and I think he's alright. Look, I love Bowser, but I will always and happiness whenever a Mario game has a different main villain, like Luigi in Dance Dance Revolution Mario Mix. Yes, this exists, and yes, it is glorious. The problem with the Bowser fights in this game is that these are borderline the same fight over and over and over and over again. Sometimes he'll have hammers. Sometimes there will be extra platforms, but that is barely enough changes to warrant fighting him over and over again. But it was the first boss fight, so I'll give him like 0.5% leniency. Unlike this game, which literally had the same damn fights from this game. Another problem with this boss fight is that it is way too easy. You can just damage boost through him, or wait for him to jump and then run for it, or fireball him to death, it does not matter. You will get through this fight in a matter of seconds. So you get past him and touch the axe, and bam, level's over when you go up and save the prince. Why are we out of schedule? So yeah, instead of saving the princess, we saved this mushroom-head thing called a toad. Truly one of the most shocking plot twists for any child to go through, just by them learning that Santa Claus was just their Uncle Joe, who did the act for free cookies and milk. You know, it's almost like we have another 7 more worlds of doing the exact same thing to go through, before, after those 7 worlds, we finally save the princess. Nah, Nintendo won't do that to us. After all, they're the company that gave us all the Never mind, they absolutely do this to us. While there are other level types in this game, like water levels. The first one being 2-2. This level introduces bloopers, some ink squid-like things, and Cheep Cheeps, aka Mario Fish. These levels are like most water levels in games. So they're bad. Most water levels in games have the worst controls in the games they're a part of. I get they're trying to make it slower to represent what actually happens when you're in water. But when you're speeding through levels, because to be honest, most of the time in games, you're just holding down right and B, it really doesn't feel great to lose all that speed when you transition to the next level. This is worse in other games that are made for you to go fast, Labyrinth Zone and Sonic 1, but that still doesn't make this any less annoying. Plus, the enemies are even more annoying in these levels than any other levels in the game. Unlike ground levels where you can still dodge the enemies pretty easily, here it's a struggle to barely scrape by them without them hitting you. And sometimes, they'll just hit you because the hitboxes hate you. Water levels are the worst! Anyway. Gradually throughout these levels, more enemies get introduced, like Lakitus, little guys in clouds, which raises all sorts of questions that throw on Spinies. And Hammer Bros, who are infamous in this game for being a pain to go through unless you just barely manage to dodge one of their hammers or you just fireball them to death. Whenever I'm rushing through a level with Hammer Bros in them, I just pray to God that somehow they miss or I just get really lucky. Or I could just stop and try and find a fire flower, but I like playing Mario games if they're Sonic games, okay? Anyways, let me sum up the rest of the levels from 2-1 to 8-4. Let's go. Overworld, underwater flag castle, overworld, overworld flag castle, overworld, underground flag castle, overworld, overworld flag castle, overworld, overworld flag castle, overworld, underwater flag castle, overworld, 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 and finally castle. Now for the final level, 8-4. I don't like this level. This level is annoying as hell to get through if you haven't played the game before, and a memory game if you have played the game before. And if you have a great memory like me, what do you mean I'm bragging? You will get through this effortlessly. It's just a bunch of random pieces of levels they smack together. It has a water portion as well, so that automatically makes this a bad level. And the final boss is Bowser. What a shocking twist of events. Okay, let's get this out of the way. It's the same Bowser fight, but with the most bare bones changes. Great, and now that we've gotten the most obvious out of the way, time for the saving of Peach, or, I'm sorry, the Mushroom Princess. Why am I still let down by this? So, this is Peach back in '85. Come on, Nintendo, was this really the best you had? You guys gotta understand, I don't simp over Nintendo women. Shut up. So, now we can play the game all over again. No. Well, that's not all you can do. This game also has multiplayer. So, what multiplayer did 80s kids have back in the day on home consoles? Well, multiplayer is literally just player 1 plays with the level as Mario, and then after that, player 2 plays with the level as Luigi. Well, that stinks. This can also get very annoying. If your friend is playing 8-4 and they die near the end, I would not blame you for doing this. And that was the first Super Mario Bros. Game, both a very interesting game and not that. You can tell this was their first attempt, and I'll give the game this. It introduced many things that become staples of the Mario franchise. Like I said, 1-2 is my favorite level in the game. I think it's really good. And the game introduced this, so it's a 10 out of 10 because of that. But this game's also covered with flaws, from the controls not being great, the music being the same thing over and over again, the graphics not aging the best, the boss fights being nearly the same thing over and over again, and water levels. Overall, do I like or dislike this game? Overall, I enjoyed it to some extent. I find it fun just to whip out my Switch and try to speedrun through this game. This game is heavily flawed, like any human being. But like any human being, the Mario series has garnered something really special. So overall, it was a good start for the Mario series and Nintendo as a whole. But the one thing that we cannot ignore nor fix with this game is the fact that I can't smash a monkey's skull in with a hammer in a horizontal sense.